Okay, so before it gets bad, we better start. Okay, thank you very much for coming. Today, I'm very happy to briefly show you how the Japanese government is doing for agriculture policies. And situation between Korean agriculture and the Japanese agriculture quite similar. You know, we are very much focused on the rice control, rice supply control, all those things, you know, historically. And so the current Japanese situation, I'm sorry, this is a bit too small, but I'll give you this file later if you want to. And we have a food control law from 1942 to 1995. So this is the kind of shortage of the food, you know, the less supply than the demand. So we try to get the government tried to get the rice as much as possible from the farmers. So, you know, farmers didn't like, excuse me. What, right, yeah, of course. Farmers didn't like this law too much. And anyway, so after the World War II, that's in 1945, you know, that was a very bad situation in Japan. And we got some, you know, rice from the United States. That's under their law, and they provided a lot of rice. But anyway, in the 1960s, with the higher purchasing price, there are too much supply of rice, you know. It started already in the late 1960s. So they decided to have the rice set aside. The diversion program started in 1969. They had a 2-year of kind of tests. Then 1971, they seriously started, you know. Then the rice procurement price set each year with enormous political fighting and the demonstrations. The farmers want to raise the prices, and the government tried to put down, you know, and they used the politicians, and they got on the street in Tokyo, and then, raise the rice prices like this. Yeah, that was very serious. And every year, they used to do that. You know, it was really funny from outside, but they are very serious. So that kind of things just went on, and then finally, you know, people just decided, you know, it's going to work, and then it's too much surplus, and then too much, you know, stocks, and then too much money going on. So they finally changed the law. Food control law terminated. Excuse me. Terminated in 1995, and the new food law enacted. That is the time when the WTO negotiation, the WTO started at that time. Then it is still, you know, legal. It was legal to grow rice as much as, you know, they want, but the government tried to put the you know, some control, you know, with the local government. So the rice set aside program still continued, and the government allocated continuously. But finally, in 2018, they stopped doing that. So only local governments, you know, indicates we should supply so much of rice. So it's not completely free, but if farmers want to grow as much, then yeah, you can do it, you know. So the situation is gradually getting better and better. But by the way, you know, this one, 1969, you know, the set aside program, diversion program, you know, at the time, the government tried to give you subsidy, so don't grow rice. That's the thing. You know? That's really a strange policy. And if you have more than enough things, then what do you do? Actually, simply there are two options. One is, okay, yeah, we have to reduce because too low, the prices are too low. Another one is, we can export. The Japanese government didn't select that exports. So instead, reduce domestic production. That was really bad. And nowadays, the government is really encouraging to export rice. But anyway, so current program for the crops. And it is income support policies for the other crops to control rice production. So make the other crops better, profitable with the subsidies. That way you can reduce, the farmers tend to reduce rice production. So that's the thing. And the difference between production costs and the market prices for non-rice. For example, rice for livestock feeding, they grow rice, but they harvest before they ripe, and then they use it for silage, and then for the livestock animals, feeding rice livestock animals, and then rice for whole crop silage also, and the rice for processing, for bread, and noodle, and cake, all those processed things, and then wheat, barley, corn, buckwheat, soybean, beets, potato, starch, and the rapeseeds, all those things that they subsidize. Okay? So no financial support to rice for table rice anymore. Because they subsidize for these things, they grow this one, more than before, with this subsidy. So they don't have to give direct subsidy to rice producing farmers for the table rice per se, Do you understand? And the rice can be used for, of course, earlier I mentioned bread and the noodle, and also for beer, and then also sake and soju, so they try to grow rice for these things rather than the table rice. Okay. Right. Maybe I can touch it like this, right? Right. Yeah. Good. So this is the market prices of rice. They depend on the varieties. This one is right on the top, Koshihikari, and then the red one is Sasanishiki, and then the green one is Akita Komachi, and Hitomebore, and then the Kirara from Hokkaido. Are you familiar some of these varieties? Okay, good. Koshihikari, particularly, that's quite popular worldwide. And also Akita Komachi. This is also quite well known. Akita Komachi is from Akita Prefecture. That's the northern area. The Hokkaido, then Aomori, and then Akita. And these people are very clever, I think. The Akita Komachi is not registered as the protection for the what do you call breeder. No protection for the breeder. So they instead just spread all over the world. People come there to visit the rice experiment station in the Akita Prefecture, and for the gifts, they gave the seeds of Akita Komachi. So that way, they are spread everywhere in the world. And they know Akita. Yeah? That's a very good way to, advertise their prefecture. In the case of Naju, who knows what Naju in the world? But if you had a Naju rice and then you give away the seeds of Naju rice, then the people would know Naju, easily. So anyway, Akita Komachi, that variety is very well known. But anyway, from 2000, the rice price just varies, depending on the situation. And much earlier, 1995 area, it was, before 1995, it was much higher than this one. And then it just dropped and then, fluctuates some. But it now, this is between the 2021 and 2022, just dropped substantially. Excuse me. Oops. And I see. And so it now came back up. So this is the $1,850 per metric ton milled rice. Okay. By the way, how much was it in California rice? Do you know? Last year. Okay. Well, because they had a drought problem in 2022, so the price in 2023, last year, was very expensive, $16.50. So very close to this one, $16.50. So the California rice, that's Japanese rice, but considering to our rice, the quality is not as good as Korean rice or Japanese rice. So they imported a lot of Japanese rice. Yes, it is lucky. Not only to Japan, to the United States, but also to the European countries, all over. Because California rice is a kind of base for the Japanese rice in the world. So the California rice prices was so high, so it was rather easy to export for Korea and Japan to anywhere in the world. So I'll show you the data. It really increased last year. Okay. Oh yeah, this one. So this is the rice export from Japan. This is commercial only, and it's been increasing. And so this is 2022, and so last year, this one is going to be about 32% up from the previous year because of that kind of situation. The Japanese rice exporters worked really hard too, and anyway, but still, this one is like 40,000 metric ton in comparison to the total production. It's still very small. But it is good, to increase rice exports like this. And main one, this is Hong Kong, and then Singapore, USA, and Taiwan, and Australia, things like that. Okay. So, current issues on rice. No direct government control on rice anymore. And to discourage rice production, income support program introduced for competitive crops. Rice for processing, soybeans, wheat, barley, such and such. And rice for exports encouraged. Meanwhile, rice consumption continued to decrease, unfortunately. Still decreasing. Like we say, 1% every year declining. And then school lunch with the rice leveled off at 2 times. That's 2 times a week. That's been like this for the last 20 or 30 years. I think in Korea, how many, for the school kids, elementary school, how many times a week do they eat rice? Every day. Yes, 5 times a week. Right? Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, actually, I visited in Daejeon, the elementary school, They had it. That was like 20 years ago, every day. That's very good. But in Japan, they are having a hard time because politically, those bred, people is quite strong. And also, I think there is some pressure from the United States as well. We import lots of wheat from America. Okay, so this is the data from 1960 to 23. This is the acreage. 1960s, we had more than 3 million hectares for rice. But, this is 1970, and then they started the diversion program, and then just dropped. Because the consumption dropped, This green one is the consumption. The Japanese consumption is like 12 million metric tons, this is milled rice. And then nowadays, it's like, 7 million tons. So it just continuously dropped. With the some processed, then it is very 8 million metric ton. So the thing we concerned is still still declining. That's the problem. Okay. Oops. So, right. So far, so this is the data, and then this is the stock. Dr. Su mentioned that your stock of rice is rising, but in Japan it is managing not too much. But one time here we had a very bad time, almost no stock. Then all of a sudden we get a natural disaster. So we had a horrible time. But anyway, oops. Oh yeah, this. Right. Okay. So this is the 2023, last year's income stabilization program. This is the, we have had this one last, let's see, the similar system more than 10 years, They change little by little with the subsidy rate. And by the way, this is from the map. Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry, and Fisheries map. You call your own government MAFRA. We call it map. And this says for the producers. Oops. For the producers. And by the way, how would you call producers? From the government point of view, the government used to be very strong, and the government people tend to look down at the farmers. But nowadays, situation is gradually changing because they are politically very strong, and then so this one literally means honorable producers. owner producers. I don't know how you call the farmers. but this one, particularly this one, this is producers. This is really sama, the honorable, which is good. And yeah, this is getting more and more common. And at the hospitals, they are still very bad attitudes to the patients. Doctors are, even the nurses are sometimes, and then, hey, poor patients, like that. But they are gradually changing as well. Okay. So for this budget, for high domestic costs, because I explained later, the production cost is this much, and then market price is this much. So this portion is covered by the subsidy. So this one is not 198 billion yen. Okay. Then allowance for low revenue, just in case there is some lower prices than usual, and some problem with the weather. For that kind of emergency case, the $53 billion. And then for alternative crop on paddy. So on the paddy, instead of growing rice, you grow something else. Something else. Then they put subsidy, so $292 billion, yen. And then for converting a paddy to upland, you change completely from the paddy land to the upland crop land, permanently. That kind of encouraging that, the 27 billion yen. And then for a new brand of non-rice crop. So developing a new brand from certain areas, that is really encouraged by giving the subsidy, 25 billion yen. And then for new markets of rice, this is just ordinary rice, but not for domestic table use. Just the other processed or whatever, the new market of rice, 11 billion yen. This one is. This is just for here, including foreign market. Yeah. But if this one becomes open completely, then the American rice producers get mad, I assume. How about you, Korean people? We need to compete. Okay. Maybe later. Okay. So a total would be $4 billion US. This is the total at this current exchange rate. Used to be $6 billion, but now Japanese yens depressed so much. Yeah, depressed more than won. So anyway, and payments for crops. The unit. Okay. In the case of wheat for bread and noodle, that's per 60 kilogram. 7,860 yen for 60 kilogram. Does it make sense? So like, I have to divide 150 yen, then something. In terms of won, used to be 78,000 won, but now won is very strong. The Japanese yen. So maybe 70 70,000 won or something like that, no? Per 60 kilogram of wheat production. Okay, and then wheat except for the above, bread and noodle, for wheat for something else, then this will be cheaper. And then barley, 2 roll, barley 6 roll, barley naked or barley hulless, such and such. And then soybeans, 60 gram, 10,000 yen. And beets, sugar beets, for 1 ton, this one. And the buckwheat for 45 kilograms, 17,000 yen. And then rapeseeds for 60 kilograms, 7,720 yen. Just like this. Is it okay? So, this is the price they give né, as a subsidy once you grow these things. And then here, actually, that payment is only for this area. Okay, let me explain. This is the production per hectare, for example. So this is higher yield, and then this one is more subsidies. So if you get higher yield on your farmland, then you receive more subsidy. So this is really encouraging for more efficiency. You know. And then this one is the acreage, you know, 4 acres. This is the 20,000 yen. I should, oh yeah, acreage, 20,000 yen per 0.1 hectare. 0.1 hectare is our unit, so that's why I put like this. And then another one is yields. According to the yields, and yes. So, oh, excuse me. I put some kind of, yen mark here, but in Korea, I put something else. But anyway, higher the yields, the more payments. So, and so if this is together, just in case yield is very, very tiny, right? And then less than 20,000 yen, you know, for the yield per se, then there is no 20,000 yen automatically, no. Yeah. So we used to have, some farmers just grow soybeans. You know, you put the seeds in the field, the rice field, and to get the subsidy, you know, and then afterwards don't care, you know. The yield is very, very low, but he get the subsidies, you know, diversion program. So there was a really bad policy, almost no agriculture. So the government is now trying to avoid that. So he has to have a certain amount of yield, at least. Then the more yield, then more money. So this is the 20,000 yen per 0.1 hectare. So that is the, that's the kind of 8 point. And then, suddenly you are expected to grow much more than that. Yeah. But anyway, there are two payment system. And now, this payment is still, that's the, yields, That's the, so this is the production cost, okay? And this is the farm price. So this area is the subsidy. Is it okay? My explanation is okay? Like for wheat, surely we import like 80% of our consumption is imported for wheat, and that's like 20% domestic. And of course, the imported wheat is cheaper, so the market price turns out to be cheap. So, so the difference is paid. So that way, the farmers wouldn't lose money. And so this is the unit for 60 kilograms. So how much yield you got, And then so the yields divided by 60 and multiplied by the payment unit. Then you get the total per 0.1 area, 0.1 hectare. And then afterwards you multiply by your total area. Okay. And this is income support payment for low prices. Okay. And there is a fund, 25% paid by farmers, and then 75% paid by the government. So this is the fund for this one, for this income support payment. Okay, so this is a different one, and so say the local basis, the average local income per 0.1 hectare with the 5-year average, excluding highest and then lowest. Okay, so you correct only 3 years of average, excluding highest and the lowest. And then farm income. This year, it's rather small, it's rather small. So this is the local average, and then this is a farmer A, the income. And then per 0.1 hectare, and then multiply by the acreage for different crops, rice, wheat, soybean, barley, all those things, and then put them together, and then you put the the total average income at the farm with the 5-year average, okay? And then here, this year, total income at this farm. So this is the normal, income, but this year only this. So the difference is from here all the way to this point, right? But payment is 90% of the loss. Yeah, 90%. Okay? So this is the system. We support that. Okay? And for this total fund, from the government is 53 billion yen. So they always have this amount of money. and then the farmers provide the like you know, 1/3 of this one, because they pay the 25%, and the government pays 75%. So so plus 1/3 of this one from the farmers. So like 70, close to 70 billion yen total. Yeah. So they have funding for that ready whenever it happens. And sometimes they use most of it, sometimes use very little. And anyway, this is kind of you know, insurance. But insurance, you know, it works with insurance together. Okay. And so, and so in the case of disaster, we have two systems. One is the revenue support. So they do completely for the insurance, with insurance only. Okay. And then another one is agri insurance, and then also income support program. You know, they put them together. Either way. So there are this kind of system. Okay. Okay. Now this is a little bit a mess. However, the simple the purpose of this figure is, if you grow only rice, you know, as continuously as before, there are no other crops, just in case. Then this is 2020's case, 2021, only rice, table rice. The figure is, the revenue was, out of the whole cost and stuff, you know, only 10,000 yen per 0.1 hectare, you know, average, national average. And then 2021, this is 19,000 yen per 0.1 hectare. That is the actual, you know, situation. So, meantime, if you grow non-table rice, you know, non-table rice, so rice for feeding or whatever, and then non-table rice for with a high yield, and revenues 18 instead of 10 or 19, and then with a high yield was 40,000 yen. Okay. In the case of rice for process, the 21. In the case of rice for new market, 28. The case of producing wheat, 49. And then soybean, 50. So this is what the government tried to you know, explain. So this production is much better than rice. This is what the government is trying to say. This is practically true, you know, as long as we see the you know, income, revenue for the producers. But I don't know, from the producer's point of view, it's still, you know, easier to grow this one. You know, it's all mechanized and stuff. You know, so you know, the rice farmers are still saying like that. But anyway, this you know, if you grow systematically, they're like in one province called Saga in Kyushu area. They have you know, in the group, you know, in the city, this area is for soybeans. This area is for rice. And next year we switch, you know, things like that. That's among the village, they switch very whole area. So one time the rice farmers don't grow rice complete at all. So it is it can be more mechanized with that kind of organizing things. So some areas are doing like that. So maybe I better just stop the explaining about the current most important Japanese agriculture policies. Okay, then open for discussion. Questions, whatever, any simple questions or difficult questions, I won't be able to answer. All right. Anyway, please. Yes, man. Palm price?
Is it 解散金?
解散金?
JA が払う解散金ですか? JA が払う解散金.
はいはいはい。解散金?
解散金.
解散金. What do you mean by 解散? JA が払います。農家に。
はい。米の
ああ。
購入するとき。
はいはいはいはい。
金額が基準ですか? パンプライス。
ああ、that's for rice. based on the これですよね。For example, in the case of rice, this is it, right? So this is this is the revenue. So just in case they produce 10 units of 60 kilogram, right? Then we have you can say like 10,000 yen for 60 kilogram, and それでどうしようかな。ちょっと待ってよ。ここのね。This is the price, market price, wholesale price. So 15,000 yen and per 60 kilogram. So in the case of Nokia, agricultural co-op, so they pay the price, and they do maybe 2 times divided at the preliminary payment, and then afterwards the rest. Yes, the total is somewhere similar to this one. Yeah, similar, but of course this is varied, according to the market, because the agri-co-op put those rice in the market, and so some farmers sell rice through the co-op market. Sometimes some people just sell directly to the consumers. So it is really diversified, yes, and it is much cheaper. Excuse me. Yeah, much cheaper to go through the agri-co-op. So even the university, at Kyushu University, we have a rice farm, and we used to sell rice through the agri-co-op, Nokia, Nonhyom. But they take up too much, surcharge. So they decided to sell it to the campus. They'll bring the rice to the campus and then sell it much higher, much more profitable. So that kind of thing is happening everywhere. Yes. Did I answer your question? Okay, right. Yeah. Next? Yes.
So I actually have a questions about the income support policy. So the first question is like, what was the year when the Japanese government started this program?
Well, that's a good question. And early 2000s, they started much more subsidies. And they gradually changed. And they seriously, with this more steady like this, I think more like 2018.
2018?
Yes.
And
yes.
do you think, was it effective to reduce the production of table rice?
Was
it effective to reduce the...
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Because for the table rice production, there's practically no direct subsidy anymore. Yeah. So this is quite influential.
Then, like, what do you think if the government stop providing these subsidies for other crops? Like, do you think are farmers gonna return to the rice production, or like if they stop providing these subsidies?
I'm sorry.
Oh, no. So like, if the Japanese government stop providing the income support program, then do you think farmers will return to the rice farming?
Oh yeah, definitely so, because it's much easier, mechanized, and although it's going to be a lot of confusion, chaotic mess in the market, and more production, and the rice prices would be much lower than this one, because more production, and then must be more rice exports as well. And lots of implications from that, if that happens. More consumption, possibly, because it's cheaper.
Yeah. Then, like, do you think the Japanese government will continue the program, the income support program, like for a long time?
I get.
It's gonna take lots of money, right?
That's right. That's true. And what should I say? I don't know what policy would be the best.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that's like.
But American agriculture policies, that's a lot of subsidies also. And what is that? Not Johnson. I forgot his name. He is a professor at the University of Maryland, and he was vice secretary, deputy secretary of agriculture. I should not forget. But he was saying that no policy, no subsidy is the best. Just stay away from the agriculture policy. I visited him in the Ministry of, the Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C., and I talked with him. And he was honestly said, we should stay away. Maybe. But with the lots of, political people, and also including the non-crop agricultural crop, they want this kind of program because it's important for their financial source. Yeah, practically speaking.
Yeah. My last question will be, so there are lots of programs for the producers, and then I was wondering, is there any other programs for the rice exporters, like any subsidies for exporting their rice, or?
You mean exporters?
Uh-huh.
To the exporters, no, not to the exporters.
Oh.
There is a subsidy for the rice producers. So you have to allocate. This area is for export. This is for the table rice for the domestic consumption. So this is, you have to register. Well, I didn't mention, but by the end of June 30th, you have to register. how much you allocate for the table rice, for the processed rice, and for the silage, rice for silage, and the rice for export, and all those things. Well, they don't say export, but new market, new market. So then they give you those subsidies. And for the exporter business people, they, the government provides those show, kind of what do you call, exhibition, yes, yes, in everywhere. Sometimes near Tokyo, sometimes in Europe, sometimes in the United States, you know. The government provides quite a lot of money for that.
All right, thank you for the explanation. And then if you can share the bio with us, it will be this.
Oh, sure, sure,
that
sure.
It will be
Yes.
helpful. Thank you.
Surely, surely.
I just have one quick question to make your slide, to make sure my understand. So, is there crop insurance for rice?
Crop insurance?
Crop insurance program for rice?
Uh-huh.
There's no subsidy?
Oh, for the insurance per se?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Where was
You have lots of slides.
これがいいかな。I didn't know. There can be some, but I have to check into that, particularly for this one. You know, this one, yeah, definitely. You know, like 75% is provided for the entire source by the government, and then producers do only 25%. But this one, of course, the producers have to buy the insurance. You know? But in that, the government provides some subsidy for the insurance companies. Let me make it the homework. Yes.
No.
Yeah, my homework. Yeah, this one and this one. Yeah, next time. And if there is any, very small. It's an insurance, so you know, this company is involved. And of course, non-HYOP, the AgriCorp, has a company for the insurance, per se. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So,
Yeah.
when I visited rural area, so I heard that converting rice to other crop is very difficult and expensive. So, is there a special program for helping farmers when converting their land from rice to other crops?
Well, right at the beginning, you know, like the 1970s, you know, I was a college student. Oh, okay. So let me tell you my experience. So actually, I'm from the farm. Yeah. So I know you know, many farmers in my village, and the farmers complaining, you know, it's so difficult to grow something else, like soybeans, you know, in the paddy field, and therefore, you know, they are just making excuse for a low yield of soybeans. You know, so much water comes in from the, you know, next door the rice fields, and you know, so with the water, it's impossible to grow soybeans. So anyway, I put the seeds and no yields, things like that. But Like I mentioned that the Saga prefecture, they are doing with the village-wide things, they switch, rotate, right? So that kind of things can be possible. So if they try, they can do it. But sometimes, particularly right at the beginning, the farmers just complain. Right? And nowadays, as I showed, this one is, this is soybean. This is 50,000 yen. So 500,000 yen per hectare is much more profitable than this one. And this is true. And I've been visiting the farmers, and it's more profitable. So they prefer to grow much more soybeans. So they say, they're even saying in the Saga, they will take the share, we give up our share of rice, and instead we take our share of soybeans. It's more profitable. So that kind of things can happen. Yeah.
Is there some reference analyzing the effect of this kind of policy changes, economically or politically?
Yes. Uh-huh. There are some reports, academic reports for that. Mm-hmm. Yes. So it is possible. Government is also emphasizing this one, but it is practically it is like that. Yes. Okay. Yes.
May I ask a couple of stupid questions? Before asking, let me briefly talk over some backgrounds.
Yes.
So these days, amendments are made. Amendment on two relevant HR as have been proposed. One act is concerned about Rice Management Act, and another one is Agricultural Commodity Price Stabilization Act. And the amendments say that the government may possibly set kind of target prices for rice and other 15 major vegetables. And the underlying logic is that as long as those target prices are set for major crops and rice, then farm producers will voluntarily change their decision making on which to plant to maximize their profit, saying that many farmers are likely to divert from paddy rice to other vegetables, such that all the supply-demand will be better balanced than now. But my first question is it possible to divert from paddy rice to other non-cereal or vegetable crops in your country? Yeah, for example,
Yes.
weeks ago, I happened to meet some farmers and asked us exactly the same question, and they told me that, in this area, planting onion or garlic is way more profitable than planting rices.
Sure.
But in this area, paddy is too humid to plant those things. So I believe if it is really feasible in the field.
And I think like those rotation, the village-wide rotation, and like I mentioned in Saga prefecture, that if you make some certain amount of area, then it is possible, much easier, to organize that kind of things. It may be quite difficult, but once you organize things, then it is possible to switch to other crops, from rice to vegetables or other grains or whatever. And but within one farmer, let's say he has 2 hectares, and then only this area convert to vegetable or other grain, then it may be really inefficient. Yeah. So inefficient means it doesn't grow well. Yeah. So those farmers may think that it is impossible. So it has to be a kind of, in a certain, at least certain amount of area to change. At least you can rotate.
All right, then,
Yeah.
thanks for answering. And my second question is concerned about what we call slippage effect.
Huh?
Slippage effect.
Oh, slippage, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So the same amendment contains the provision saying that in case there is possibility of overproduction of rice, the government may render producers to set aside some portion of their farmlands. But I suspect such provision really could be in effect due to those slippage effect. Yeah, in that, in case of such obligation, the producers may idle their most inefficient possible.
Yeah,
farmland.
right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Has it ever happened in your country in 1980s or so?
Yes. Yeah, it is. It really happened. So, how? Oops. Sometimes I'm going to show those. Oh, good. And where was that? Yeah, here. Please look at this one. This is the stocks, ending stocks. So like around 1970, which is a really huge stock, and so that's why they started the deficit program. But it dropped, but again went up, this kind of situation. That means definitely in a way it's slippage going on, So it is very difficult, yes. So I think, based on those kind of failure in the past, they finally came up with this kind of idea. But even in America, yeah, they have the same kind of problems, Their problem is much more serious, really huge amount of stocks, So I think those target price system and diversion program things would not work seriously for the farmers. So now they don't have diversion program at all in the United States. They stopped doing that 1996. Yeah. So
instead, they put more emphasis on conservation title.
So that's the way. So diversion program, that's very, very bad. How how can it do that? Yeah, everybody gets mad. Make the people very idle, make the farmers, without doing it, get the money. Gosh, I can't believe that. We should not have that kind of system. Yeah, the more work, the more income. That's the way we are supposed to be. Yeah. So and then all the fields has to be growing something. Rather than for the environmental protection things, or on the surface soil protection or something like that, they call it. Even in the United States, they used to call it for the farmland protection policy. So without growing, the growing crops, let the weeds grow, That's really strange, and that's not the appropriate way to manage the land. Well, I knew that, but it is easy to make the taxpayers, think that they are doing right policies, but that is not true. Yeah, and those college professors knew about it, in America, but that is, just what the heck, just let them do. So we wasted quite a lot of money with that. So hopefully we will not do that anymore. Did I answer your question?
I thoroughly agree with you.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Professor Ito,
Yes,
may I ask a short question?
sure.
Yeah. This is Du Bong Han.
Yes.
Can you hear me, my voice?
Oh, yes, I can.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I have the question is income support for non-table rice and other crops such as the wheat, barley, soybean are quite expensive in the government budget sense. For example, Japanese government make the income support more than 1 million yen per hectare for flour rice, something like that, non-table rice. Yeah, so that is quite expensive. So therefore, our friend Professor Oma and I cannot remember his name. He's a very interesting ag economist at Canon Institute. Criticize Japanese income support for non-table rice. They criticize very much because it is it takes a lot of the government budget. It is a very inefficient policy, and also it is a distort to the other crops market, and also it increased the stabilized price in the future because farmers, rice farmer would give up cultivating rice. Therefore, is rice prices increase. Thus, Japanese would not export rice over to the world. So the Professor Honma and on what is his name? Is an ag economist.
Yamashita?
Yamashita is criticized because they support the Japanese export to rice to the world because global rice demand increased dramatically. Would you introduce what is criticism of the income support to non-table rice in Japan? I think the Japanese government support more than 3 times of Korean income support to the non-table rice, such as the processing rice. Would you introduce some of the criticism of the income support program of Japan? Yeah, by the economists such as the Professor Honma and Yamashita, and also maybe Ministry of the Economic Planning in Japan criticize the position of the Ministry of the Agriculture in Japan. Would you introduce those kind of the opinion, those kind of the criticism and the pros and cons of the income support program for non-table rice? We definitely understand the Japanese government gave up the supporting the rice, but and also reduced the carryover stock of the rice. Japanese government introduced income support for non-table rice. It also would make problem in the future.
Mm.
How do your opinion? Or could you cite the other economist opinion in your presentation on the February 1st?
Yeah.
Is it possible?
Well, no, not quite possible. You have to ask them rather than ask me. But I try, you know, they are good friends of mine, and
Sure.
I agree with them basically because
Yes.
subsidy is really distort the market situation, you know.
Yes, sure.
Yes. So recently the food security things, you know, the people are really worried. The consumers are really worried about the food security, particularly with the Ukrainian war and those Israeli war. You know, in the mass media, it's getting more, you know, advocates for the more protection and the, raise the self-sufficiency rate to be raised. But for those things, I think we would need to put more subsidies than the current situation. You know, should be doubled or even. But the government, I don't know if that is really practical for the government budget point of view. So to make it more efficient and also to make the producers more efficient, that means inefficient farmers should be subsidized, you know, shouldn't be subsidized. It has to have some certain level of efficiency. Otherwise, it's kind of wasting money, you know. So the current policy tend to be for everybody. If you are registered as a a legitimate farmer, so maybe it can be more selective for the future, and money can be used more for more efficient farmers.
Sure.
Those things one area has to be considered, but it is very, very political. The many farmers are very small, and the farmers have such a big political power. Political power means only with the numbers, not the area. So they have to consider what the small farmers are thinking. So it is a kind of dilemma. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah. I think is the level of the income support for non-table rice and other crops are so high in Japan because the Japanese government focus on reducing the carryover stock. Therefore, they support too much. That is my point. So even government reduce the income support for rice, government budget would not decrease at all. I think. Yeah, I don't know exactly, but would you give me some of the opinion about your opinion about Japanese income support for non-table rice other crops? Yeah, for the Korean audience. Maybe I invite the Japanese embassy people to your seminar.
Yeah.
They would make some comment too.
Yeah, it is really controversial. Which level we should set for the subsidies.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sure.
That's enough. I will communicate through the email with you.
Sure. Okay. All right. More questions?
You can speak in Japanese.
Oh, Japanese. Yes.
奈良市対策について
奈良市。
はい
はいはい。
気になっております。
ちょっと待って、あれこれで、これかな。OK、そうですね。これがいいかな。これじゃない、ちょっと待ってね。これこれですね。はい。奈良市。はい。
標準的な輸入額をちょっと計算して9割を今補填していると思いますが、
9割ね。何%？
結局、標準的な輸入額がどうなるか、それが大事だと思います。
標準的なのが
輸入額ですね。
標準的、ここですよね。
はい、そうです。
はい。ここがまず地域の同じところの same area ですよね。
はい、
で、the basic income がこうだと。
はい。それを算定するとき、
はい。
最近の5年の最大と最小の
あれを取って
除いて、
はい。
平均をちょっと計算することと思いますが、それは法律の通りに、今法律を守ってますかと気になっております。韓国では昔、米の直接支払いをするときに、法律的には日本みたいに5年ぶりに更新しなければならないと。しかし、いつも生産者団体と国会からちょっとネガティブな意見が出まして、それでいつも法律的じゃなくちょっとそれを上げました、金額を。はい。それで日本は生産者団体と国会からそんな場合があるかなと気になっておりますが。
I see. I don't deny it. ないとは言えない。これは、this is depend on the local situations. ね、local、地域ごとに。ですから、ある地域では、some area、ね、may take kind of, strange way to calculate. Can happen ですね。can。しかし、そんなに much はないと思います。そういうのはやっぱりね、みんなしっかり見てるだろうと思いますよ。
질문을 한국어로 좀 해주세요.
Yes, yes.
In Korean.
그 표준 금액을 정해놓고 이제 98%를 보전해 주는데 그 금액에 대한 이제 농가 단체가 좀 그게 법대로 아마 해왔을 건데 우리 같은 경우 농가 단체에서 항상 이제 올려달라고 얘기를 하는데 일본 같은 경우는 농가나 이제 국회에서 그런 요구가 있었는지 항상 법대로 이제 따라서 지켜온 건지 그게 궁금해요. 또 하나 물어보려는 거는 이제 우리 가격보장제에서는 이제 그런 기준 금액을 위원회를 두고 거기 결정하려고 그러는데 이제 거기에 좀 어떻게 연결해서 이제 어떻게 생각하시는지 좀 궁금해서.
So yeah, many strange things can happen, Yeah, in the individual local cases. And like this one, ag insurance for natural disaster. For example, this one is, you have to buy insurance beforehand. However, wow, the big typhoon came. Wow, we need to hurry to buy insurance. No, it's too late. But still, you know, those some group, AgWap group people. Okay, right. Yeah, this kind of things may happen. Yeah. So, but nowadays, that was before. Nowadays, well, not really, you know, anymore.
まあこの制度に関する委員会などはありますか。
はい。
その役割についてちょっと気になっております。説明していただければと思います。
で、スーさんはそういったあれを聞いたことはありますか、北海道。
それについては聞いたことはあります。
いや、そういったね、ちょっとこう裏でこう操作するとか、はい、聞いたことありますか。
それは聞いたことがありません。ありません。
ない。私も今のところないですけどね。しかし、if I really investigate really hard, then there might be a case. I don't know. I can spend another hour or so if you want to. But I don't know. Any questions or whatever?
If you don't have any question, let's wrap up the seminar.
Okay.
Give a big applause.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to visit here tomorrow and then the day after tomorrow as well. So just in case you have questions, come see me. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Can I just send you an email about this itinerary?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So if you have time,
yeah.
to take dinner,
Uh-huh.
so you can take it with us.
Oh.